I believe truly that there's no one else better prepared to be President of the United States of America than Hillary Clinton.
The Congressional Black Caucus is supporting Hillary Clinton with more than a week to go before the South Carolina primary. So this support comes one day after Senator Sanders dined with political activist, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Black Sphere executive editor and founder of TeaPartyCommunity.com, Kevin Jackson, is with me now. So, Kevin, South Carolina has a more diverse population than Iowa or New Hampshire. So how significant is an endorsement from the Congressional Black Caucus? How much is this going to change for Hillary Clinton?
I don't think it changes the dynamic much, Deirdre, because it was expected. I think Bernie Sanders threw a bit of a monkey wrench into the whole thing by going to meet with Al Sharpton, and so it makes this a little bit more poignant than it might have been otherwise. But I think it certainly would have been par for the course. The Congressional Black Caucus is going to go with the most visible candidate, the candidate that they believe has the best chance of winning. Now, I think that what might actually impact this more than anything is Bloomberg's entry if he decides to come in. I think that would really muddy things up for both of the candidates. But I think as far as Hillary goes, it was expected. Okay,
it was expected. Out of curiosity, how much sway do you think Reverend Al Sharpton has on constituents, for example, in South Carolina?
I don't think he has any there, and in fact, I don't think he has any anywhere. And I actually believe that with Bernie Sanders, this is going to backfire on him. And I think the move by the Congressional Black Caucus was meant to sort of mitigate that to a degree. The idea that Bernie Sanders would actually cancel going to South Carolina, rather, and make that stopover for Sharpton, who's pretty much been marginalized for quite a bit. I mean, the Twitter world was ablaze with, I hope he's there to collect our tax money for us and things like this. Also, it was also considered such a pandering effort, and the idea that if going to Al Sharpton is some sort of rite of passage to get to the black vote. So I think it's probably going to backfire on him in South Carolina, where people like Sharpton and Jackson probably aren't nearly, they don't have nearly as much sway as they might in the Northeast.
Okay, so I take your point on the geography. We want to move, if you don't mind, Kevin, from politics to pop culture. Protesters are planning an anti-Beyonce rally outside NFL headquarters, so there's controversy over her Super Bowl performance. She referenced the 1960s activist group, the Black Panthers. She referenced Malcolm X. So some protesters are calling her act a form of hate speech. Do you see it that way?
I don't blame Beyonce as much. And when you look at the throwback organizations of the Black Panthers and you look at what was happening with Democrats back in the 60s, there was a reason for blacks to be disgusted with politics and the man, as they would put it. And so I think that from that standpoint, going back and sort of remembering the roots of that was not a bad thing. The problem is they don't remember it in the proper context. It was Democrats and the people like that who were really doing the oppressing. I think the real issue is the NFL not becoming sort of a socio-political group as opposed to just playing football and allowing this kind of thing to happen. And we've seen this occur now with things like Adrian Peterson, Ray, I forget his name, but the guy that hit his wife on the elevator, and all the issues around Michael Sams and gays in the NFL and things like this, when people really, prior to this, just looked at it as a sport, you enjoyed it, and that was the end of it. But it's become now a political statement, and they've allowed the Super Bowl to be used to make those types of statements. And I think America, quite frankly, is kind of sick of the whole thing, whether it's a wardrobe malfunction that tends to give the actual entertainer more time.
There's a lot of people who say it just should be about the sport and entertainment, but apparently some sources say Beyonce was actually encouraged to be political. But in the end, I take your point, and I'm glad for your time, Kevin Jackson.